President Bongbong Marcos says the government has not received any reports of destabilization plots against him among active police and military officials, adding that discontent may be within the retired personnel. In an ambush interview on Friday, May 10, Marcos says they have not monitored any movement among current Philippine National Police and Armed Forces of the Philippines officials, as personnel from both organizations are not engaged in politicking.
I don't see, wala kaming report na in the ranks. Yung mga retired, baka merong mga gumagalaw na sumasama sa mga distab na ginagawa. Pero sa ating mga kapulisan at siyempre lalo na sa officer corps, wala naman tayong nakikitang ganun na namumulitika ang mga pulis.
Marcos adds he does not see why a loyalty check would be required of officials.
So, ang loyalty check, hindi ko alam kung ano yung loyalty check katotohanan. Anong sasabihin mo doon sa tao? Sasabihin, loyal ka ba sa akin? Siyempre, oo ang sagot nun, di ba? Kahit na hindi siya loyal sa'yo.
He also assures officials that it would not matter if they voted for him in the 2022 national elections as long as both the PNP and AFP stay professional.
Ang ano ko naman, kahit hindi mo ako binoto, okay lang sa akin. Basta't maging professional ka, gawin mo yung trabaho mo ng tama. Yun lang naman ang hinihiling ko sa lahat ng pulis, sa lahat ng armed forces.
Former Senator Antonio Trillanes IV earlier claimed that there may be an ouster plot being hatched by active senior PNP personnel and retired AFP officials, supposedly meant to install Vice President Sara Duterte as president. Trillanes said the ouster plot may be because there is a sense of urgency on the side of former President Rodrigo Duterte, since the International Criminal Court may issue by June or July a warrant arrest of those involved in the drug war. The PNP said it has not monitored any destabilization plot and appealed to Trillanes to spare the organization from such issues. Lawmakers from the House of Representatives initially asked Trillanes to keep the AFP and PNP away from such talks, but some are now questioning whether the former senator's claims are true. President Bongbong Marcos says other countries' commitment to maintaining the freedom of navigation over the West Philippine Sea is a big deal for the country. In an ambush interview on Friday, May 10, Marcos says the Philippine government is thankful for its allies like France, whose navy intends to join the Philippines for military exercises.
Kami nagpapasalamat sa lahat ng mga iba't ibang bansa, kahit na hindi yung iba nga ay nanggagaling sa malayo pa. Ngunit sila ay handang tumulong sa atin at kapag tayo ay nagkakaproblema, very supportive sila hanggang hindi lamang sa salita kundi pati na sa mga tinatawag na joint cruises. Kaya napakalaking bagay yan dahil ito lang ang paraan upang magarantiya natin na ang West Philippine Sea ay patuloy ang tinatawag na freedom of navigation.
According to the president, maintaining a free and open West Philippine Sea would be important to the global economy because many countries rely on that route to sustain growth.
At ang daming dumadaan dyan at yung tinatawag na global economy ay umaasa at kinakailangan para ang global economy ay gumanda, kailangan libre, ligtas ang lugar ng West Philippine Sea. Kaya lahat ng tumutulong sa atin, tayo kasama rin dyan, lahat ng tumutulong sa Pilipinas, kami nagpapasalamat at ito ay magiging malaking bagay, malaking tulong para mapayapa at maging stable, may stability ang West Philippine Sea.
Just this April 25, the navies of the Philippines, the United States, and France started joint patrols over the West Philippine Sea. The joint patrols, the Balikatan exercises, and the commitment by foreign navies to help maintain the freedom of navigation over the West Philippine Sea comes when tensions are high between the Philippines and China. Beijing continues to assert ownership over most of the South China Sea, including the West Philippine Sea. But the Permanent Court of Arbitration in 2016 said the Philippines has exclusive rights to the West Philippine Sea, as China has no historical or legal basis to back up its claims. The National Security Advisor wants to expel Chinese embassy personnel linked to the alleged recorded phone call between a Chinese diplomat and a Philippine military official on the supposed New Model Pact for Ayungin Shoal. In a statement on Friday, May 10, National Security Advisor Eduardo Años says individuals in the Chinese embassy responsible for what he called malign influence and interference operations should be removed from the country immediately. According to a media report, the Chinese embassy presented a supposed transcript of Western Command Chief Vice Admiral Alberto Carlos and a Chinese diplomat, claiming they also have an audio recording of the exchange regarding the new model arrangements for Ayungin Shoal. ANYO joins Defense Secretary Teodoro in calling for appropriate actions against the involved individuals for violating Philippine laws and breaching diplomatic protocols. ANYO says the Chinese embassy's repeated acts of disinformation, misinformation, and malinformation should not be allowed to pass without serious penalty. He stresses that China's objectives in releasing falsehoods continues to sow discord among the Filipino people, calling Beijing's actions foolish and reckless. The Armed Forces of the Philippines has categorically denied China's claim that the Western Command has agreed to a supposed new model for the conduct in Ayungin Shoal. AFP Chief General Romeo Bronner Jr. earlier said China may be using deepfake audio recording to fabricate proof. He also said Beijing's claims only serve as a distraction from the China Coast Guard's ongoing aggressive behavior in the West Philippine Sea. Defense Secretary Teodoro says the war games between the Philippines and the US will see the emergence of a full-scale battle simulation. During the closing ceremony of this year's Balikatan exercise, Teodoro says President Bongbong Marcos is anticipating the unprecedented scale of next year's war games. For his part, Lieutenant General Michael Sederholm, a U.S. Marine Task Force commander, expresses confidence that the intensified Balikatan this year will deter enemies from using force against sovereign nations as the joint military exercise made Manila and Washington more lethal. Both nations' forces simulated on Monday, May 6, their foiling of a foreign country's invasion attempt through the use of howitzers in live fire drills. This was held on the shores of Lawag, one of the country's northernmost areas near Taiwan that also faces the West Philippine Sea. On Wednesday, May 8, the former BRP Lake Caliraya, a discarded made-in-China oil tanker, was submerged during the sinking exercise held in a coastal city. Around 16,000 Philippine and U.S. soldiers joined this year's Balikatan exercise. President Bongbong Marcos compares former anti-drug agent Jonathan Morales, who linked the chief executive to illegal drugs, to a jukebox that would sing whatever song is directed in exchange for money. In an ambush interview on Friday, May 10, Marcos says it is hard to give importance to Morales' claims, believing that the former Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency personnel is a professional liar.
Mahirap naman bigyan ng importansya yan. You know, this fellow is a professional liar. At parang jukebox yan eh. Kung ano ihulog mo na, basta maghulog ka ng pera, kahit anong kantang gusto mo, kakantay niya. Kaya walang saysay. Tignan mo na lang ang kanyang record.
Morales testified before the Senate Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs and said that pre-operation reports linking Marcos and actress Maricel Soriano to drugs are authentic. However, incumbent PDEA officials debunked this, saying that such a file does not exist. Marcos questions Morales' records as it was revealed in the hearings that the ex-PDEA agent was dismissed from the police service and admonished during his time at the Anti-Narcotics Bureau.
Tignan mo na lang kanya, may kaso siya na false testimony. Yan, ganyan. Ilan bang marami siyang history na kung sino-sino sinasangkot kung saan-saan. Hindi parang yun ang hanap buhay yata niya. Kaya professional liar ang tawag ko sa kanya.
On April 30, the upper chamber began its inquiry into the alleged leaked PDEA documents issued March 11, 2012. During the hearing, PDEA Director General Moro Virgilio Lazo categorically stated that the documents were fake. Morales, who signed the papers, refuted this as he maintained that the alleged leaked documents connecting Marcos and Soriano to illegal drugs were real. On May 1, Senator Bato de la Rosa said that he was convinced that the alleged leaked documents were not fabricated, saying that Morales is very straightforward.